Guys, the stuff people are saying about the Ohio State Buckeyes just isn't true. Over the last few days, I have seen so many people nitpicking every single part of why the Buckeyes are frauds, why they haven't shown anything to be afraid of against the nobody schools. To me, it's all kind of a joke. I know the last 3 years haven't gone this program's way. A lot of people don't have trust in Ryan Day, but if you look at things for how they actually are, the Buckeyes were just a routine field goal away from probably winning a national championship. And all those losses to Michigan now have a big asterisk on them, and they were the reason for not making it to the playoffs. And now this program has arguably the most talent in all of college football. And even though they have gotten off to a few slow starts, there have been so many moments where I've been like, wow, when watching the guys on this roster. I'm really not worried about this team for the regular season. I think they will easily cruise to an 11-1 record, and they should not have much trouble with Michigan at home. The thing that does definitely matter though is the playoffs. And in this video, I'm going to talk about why I think they have the depth to make a run, and I'm also going to break down some of the players that have stood out through the first 3 games of the season, and what the Buckeyes need to do to prepare for the real games coming up against teams like Iowa, Oregon, and Penn State. But before I begin, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are now on the road to 2,000 subscribers on this channel, and with your support, I believe we can get there super fast. Alright, so where do we even start? I guess it has to begin with the guy under center and Will Howard. He has been pretty good early on in this season. Again, I know the offense has been slow at times. I know they haven't played anyone, so it's hard to do an actual evaluation, but Howard seems to have gotten a feel for playing in the big environment that the Horseshoe is. And I am so ready to see him face an actual competent Big Ten team. In the win over Marshall, before being pulled, Howard threw for 275 yards with 2 touchdowns, but he did have an interception, which is something you definitely want to avoid against an unranked team, especially one of Marshall's caliber. But honestly, they had a nice little team. I gotta give them credit where it's due. That Elijah Metcalf dude was fun to watch. I think he will have an opportunity to play at a bigger school next season. Anyways, getting back to Ohio State, this game was Quinshon Judkins and Emeka Egbuka's time to shine. Judkins rushed for 173 yards and 2 touchdowns off just 14 attempts, and Egbuka had 117 yards with a touchdown. And Jeremiah Smith later in the game finally did break one loose for a long touchdown, despite having a quiet day for his standard. But that's the thing that makes this team so dangerous. Different guys get their chance to shine on different days. Like Cardinal Tate also had 64 yards off 4 receptions. It was an all-around great offensive effort, and I can't forget about the big boys up front. They did what they were supposed to do and opened up running lanes for Judkins and Henderson all game long, as they were able to punch in 4 touchdowns combined. Here's what Ryan Day and some of the players had to say in the post-game interview following this win.
We wanted to play fast. Today we felt like that was the right approach, and we did. And when you do that and you're creating explosive plays but then turn the ball over quick too, things like that can happen. That's the risk. We don't always play that way because we don't always want to put the defense in a bad position that way.
Not even touch the ball, and then obviously you exploded after that.
Just with Travion being in there, I was super excited to see how he ran, just supporting him from afar and just looking at how he progressed throughout the first quarter and the different runs that he had and just how the offense was flowing. So it was pretty successful, and I enjoyed it.
One player who did struggle in this game when put in was Devin Brown. I know it's tough to perform after just being thrown into the wild after sitting on the sideline, but to me the Brown experiment just isn't working. And if God forbid Howard ever did get injured, I'm not confident in his ability to lead this team. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Now switching over to the defense, statistically they have been super dominant early in the season, but the recent Marshall game kind of worried me a little bit with how easily Elijah Metcalf was able to tear the secondary apart. But that doesn't take away from the fact that through 3 games, the unit has only allowed 20 points, which against anyone on the collegiate level is impressive. But we will really get to see what this defense is made of over the next few games. Before the game even started against Marshall, Ryan Day was interviewed, and all he said was 5 words. We have a good defense. He has his full trust in this unit, and man, do they have some talent in the front 7. Here were some of the highest rated players from some of the positions on the defensive side of the ball. JT Tuimoloau had a 74.6 rating at defensive end. Cody Simon had a 73.9 at linebacker, and as a safety, Caleb Downs had a 79.3 rating. And Lathan Ransom wasn't far behind with a 77.4. To me, Sawyer has been the closest to dominance with the eye test and by PFF metrics. He leads the team with 7 quarterback hits and 3 QB hurries. Tuimoloau is the only other defender with 5 combined sacks, hits, and hurries. Williams is the best of the group, and we saw Ohio State's defense struggle without him on Saturday. Sawyer is a fringe first-round talent, but there's not another guy who I'd pound the table for in the entire group. Tuimoloau has been a major disappointment in the passing game in particular. I would love to talk about the defense more, but I just don't have any reason to be concerned right now. I would like to see how they perform against a ranked team before I officially say if they are that good or not. So let's go back to the offense, because I really just want to talk about Jeremiah Smith more, because he is so unreal. Who would have thought that waiting right behind Marvin Harrison Jr. would be another once-in-a-generation talent that is being compared to Hall of Famers and the best guys to ever play the game? And it didn't take him long to get going. He already has 281 yards and 4 touchdowns, and that's with sitting out the majority of the second halves because of the games being blowouts. So statistically, he is on his way to breaking some major college football records, and I just can't wait to see him play under the bright lights of a big game, particularly the Oregon one. And then under him, you got Tate, Abuka, and so many other talented players. And when you combine that with how big and dominant the offensive line is, blocking for both Judkins and Henderson, as a defense, I don't even know how you game plan for what the Buckeyes have, because Jim Knowles will just move on from player to player until he finds a matchup that can be exposed. And there always will be one, no matter who the opponent is. The only thing I am potentially worried about with Ohio State is them feeling the pressure of being such a highly paid team and losing to Michigan 3 times in a row. I think many of the players probably know in the back of their heads that Ryan Day is slightly on the hot seat, and the team has to dominate this season. Many people are labeling 2024 as natty or bust, which is obviously a lot to live up to, especially with the new format. But you know what happened last time college football changed the format in 2014? That's right, the Buckeyes as the 4 seed won it all with Urban Meyer, Cardell Jones, and Ezekiel Elliott. Another thing I am slightly worried about is Will Howard in a big environment, because Ohio State is a whole nother level from Kansas State. I'm not saying he's never played in big games before, but there is nothing like playing schools in a Big Ten showdown like Penn State and Michigan. You just can't mentally prepare for them no matter how hard you try to. But again, if he struggles early, you can just run the ball. It's really that simple. There are so many solutions to potential struggles the Buckeyes could have in big games. And then when the defense adjusts to the run, that's when you can go deep to Jeremiah Smith to let him eat. I don't know what the word is to describe what I've been saying. I guess middle schoolers would call it glazing, but for real, this is the most talented group of Buckeyes I've ever seen, and I can't believe how many people are really doubting this team already. This is not the same Buckeyes we have seen in years past. This is a team with all their chips on the table. It's now or never. That's really all I got for this one. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point, and if you enjoyed and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe, because your support truly does mean the world. And also, let me know what you'd like to see next, and until then, I will see you all later.